Bankais versus domain expansions. Which is better? Or really, it's not about which is better, but which is more effective when used against an opponent in general. You see, both Bankais and domain expansions are the pinnacle of their respective power systems and serve as the ultimate trump card. However, they operate on fundamentally different principles, making a direct comparison of which is more powerful a bit tricky because it depends heavily on the specific context and abilities of the user involved. But in a general sense, while specific Bankais might theoretically operate at a higher destructive scale within the Bleach cosmology than most domain expansions do in Jujutsu Kaisen, the ability itself of a domain expansion makes it more inherently effective as a decisive trump card in general, regardless of the individual user's power level. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you why domain expansions are more effective than Bankais, though I wouldn't argue that Bankais are more powerful. Now, what is a Bankai? Bankais are the ultimate release of Shinigami Zanpakuto, and it's achieved through intense training and a deep communion with one's Zanpakuto spirit. Each Bankai is unique and could range from a simple move to a reality-bending ability. The strengths to Bankais are vast power amplifications. It provides an enormous boost in stats and unlocks powerful, often reality-bending, unique abilities, which is why they are more destructive than domain expansions. Each Bankai is unique to their user and are highly diverse, but the same could be said about domain expansions, so that's not really an advantage Bankais have. Bankais, once activated, can generally be maintained for an extended period of time through stamina drains or self-destructive properties. But, and I think this is the main point here, Bankais are not in general a sure or guaranteed hit against opponents, but they are still a very overwhelming force though. I would say while Bankais are not a guaranteed hit, their sheer force, speed, or unique effects often overwhelms opponents to the point where physical contact might not even be necessary. That's just one of the limitations Bankais have. They are not a sure hit. Bankais are also kind of fragile. When a Bankai is significantly damaged or even destroyed, it's incredibly difficult sometimes to repair it. And this is a severe weakness some Bankais have, as it's a part of the user's soul. Like when Sergeant Komamura crushed Tosen's Bankai with his own during their fight, Tosen's Bankai was permanently broken after that. Bankais are directly connected to the user's Zanpakuto, so if the Zanpakuto is broken or damaged, the Bankai is gone, and only one character in Nimaya Oetsu in Squad 0 can fix Zanpakutos. Now you could say the same for domain expansions in the fact that for the most part, the only thing that could really counter a domain expansion is another domain expansion, as we saw with Sukuna versus Gojo. Or the same weaknesses can be applied to domains in the fact that they could be disrupted from the outside, as we saw with Yuji breaking into Mahito's domain. But still, domain expansions are not directly connected to a physical object that could be attacked, which would lead to a Bankai's weakness. Attacking specific parts of Sukuna, for example, will not prevent him from using his domain expansion. That and the fact that Bankais are not a sure hit is mostly why I said domain expansions are more effective, though less powerful. There's still a lot of similarities though between the two. Some Bankais and domain expansions have massive areas of effect, which makes them dangerous to allies as much as the enemies, such as Yamamoto's Zankai no Tachi and Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine. There are also domain expansions and Bankais that can target specific individuals, like Gojo's Infinite Void and Senjumaru Shutara's Hitatsu Karagara Shigarami no Tsuji. You have no idea how long it took me to pronounce all of that. Both domain expansions and Bankais can manifest unique environments for their technique. Both require some level of training to be achieved and some level of mastery to complete. Both could be countered, or their abilities could be learned over time to devise a counter. Both could clash if each opponent activates their Bankais and domain expansions at the same time, such as when we saw Byakuya versus Ichigo and Gojo versus Sukuna. Though domain expansions do leave its users weak and drained of curse energy, preventing them from using it for a while, Bankais on the other hand usually can just be spammed by the users without any physical drain. So that's an advantage Bankais do have over domain expansions, but in summary, domain expansions are still way more effective of an attack than Bankais. Which do you think is the better ability? Comment down below. That's all for me. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time.